In today's lesson, you will learn how to add and subtract fractions. The first thing that you want to do when adding or subtracting fractions is to get a common denominator. Once you have a common denominator, you will then add or subtract the numerators. You keep the denominator the same, and then your last step is to simplify it. In our first example, we can skip over the first step because we already have a common denominator. We have 16 on the bottom of both of our fractions. Since it's a subtraction problem, we're going to go ahead and subtract 7 minus 1, which is 6. And then step 3, we're going to keep the denominator the same. And then the last step is to look at the fraction and see if it can be simplified. 6 and 16 can both be divided by the number 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. In our next example, 4/9 take away 7/9, we already have a common denominator, so we're going to move on to the second step, add or subtract the numerators. 4 take away 7. You may recognize 4 take away 7 as being -3, or you might want to change it to adding the opposite since you're taking away a larger fraction from a smaller one. 4 plus a -7 is -3. And we'll keep the denominator the same. The last step is to simplify. Both the numerator and denominator can be divided by 3. -3 divided by 3 is a -1. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. So our final answer is -1/3. In our next example, we have two different denominators, so we need to get a common denominator. We need to think about what number 2 and 3 will divide into evenly. 2 and 3 both go into the number 6, so I'm going to rewrite these fractions with 6 in the denominator. In order to make this 2 a 6, we had to multiply by 3. So in order to keep an equivalent fraction to what we started with, we need to multiply the numerator by 3 as well. 1 times 3 is 3. And in the second fraction of 2/3, we had to multiply the denominator by 2 in order to get 6. So we also have to multiply the numerator by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we'll go ahead and add the numerators together. 3 plus 4 is 7. And keep the denominator the same. 7/6 is an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So we're going to go ahead and change this to a mixed number. To do that, we ask ourselves how many times 6 goes into 7. 6 goes into 7 one time with 1 left over, and you keep the bottom number the same. So the leftovers go on the top and the denominator stays the same. Our last example, 3/8 minus 1/3. Again, we need to get a common denominator. 8 and 3 both go into the number 24. So I'm going to rewrite this with 24 in the denominator. To go from 8 to 24, we had to multiply by 3. So go ahead and multiply the numerator by 3 as well. 3 times 3 is 9. And to go from 3 to 24, we had to multiply by 8. So multiply the numerator by 8 as well. 1 times 8 is 8. Now we're going to subtract the numerators. 9 minus 8 is 1. And keep the denominator the same. 1/24 is the final answer.